Hello, everybody. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Chris Hopper. I'm a alcoholic, 11/19/12. That was my sobriety date. I would like to thank Shane for inviting me onto his channel to speak about how drug addiction and alcoholism has torn my life apart. I put these tattoos on my face because life was tearing me apart, and that's what it symbolized. So, when I was a kid and when I was born, my mom ended up splitting with my dad. So my real dad, my biological dad, I never knew. I've never seen a picture of him, and I don't know even what he looks like or what he's done with his life. And now I haven't checked with Uncle Google to see if I could find him because it really doesn't matter to me. I ended up having two more dads in my life. One of them taught me how to abuse drugs and just how to be uh, a hazard to society. And then I had another dad who taught me about alcoholism and drug addiction, not drug addiction, but alcoholism, and how to work hard for a living and to show up every day. So basically, a functioning alcoholic. So I had a functioning alcoholic and I had a drug addicted, abusive father. So I learned some great traits from both of these guys. I learned how to work hard and stay drunk. And from the other one, I learned how to be pretty mean and just how to defend myself, take care of myself, and what that drug lifestyle was all about. And I really enjoyed that lifestyle. And I also, at the same time, enjoy working. So from the time I was born till about the age of 13, I was living a crazy life. My family, my mom, my dad, they had me in that crazy life, that lifestyle of drug addiction, of abuse, of chaos, and it was quite torturing. Although I went through physical, mental, and sexual abuse as a child from 6 months on up to the age of 9. This is not no fault of my mom and dad. They made the decisions and choices to be who they were, and they did the best with what they could. And this did not make me who I was. This did not make me the addict alcoholic that I was. I made that decision and choice on my own. That was a choice and a decision that I made. But after all of that chaos of growing up, and I made this life for me, I made this decision to become this person I wanted to become. At the age of 13, I was hooked on octane booster. Octane booster and marijuana. To some people, marijuana is not that big of a deal, but for me, it wasn't that good of a deal either because it enhanced some other drugs in my life. So I went ahead and started huffing octane booster because getting high on weed, it was just something that I did like smoking cigarettes. It's just something you do just to break the just to just to wake up and not have to be in the reality of life, the reality of life on life terms of how bad it can actually suck sometimes if we're not in the good orderly direction path. So at the age of 13, I ended up going into a seizure on my front porch, and I was on probation because I set the school on fire at 13. And we was smoking weed in the boys' bathroom, and I thought it'd be a good idea to set the lockers full of gym clothes on fire. So I got on probation and was on probation, swinging on my front porch, and ended up going into a seizure. And my mom found me outside and turned me in. So I ended up doing 2 years as a kid. That was my first trip to the penitentiary. Was at 13 years old. That was the first time that drug addiction actually took me to the wrong place at the wrong time. After I got out of prison the first time as a kid, the drug addiction and the drug abuse did not stop. I kept on. I kept on racking up charges and racking up offenses. At the age of 15, I got my first job on a drilling rig, and that only induced the drug and alcoholism addictions because I would work hard on them drilling rigs and we would smoke and drink all day long just to feel different while we were out there. Feel superior. I think I still like to feel superior, but I just wanted to feel superior at that time. And through years, at the age of 18, I thought it was a good idea to drink and drive, of course. And I got pulled over and arrested for DWI. Needless to say, that was my first trip to the penitentiary, to the adult penitentiary, and I was 18 years old and 145 pounds. And I was white, which is kind of hard to be when you're in a Texas penitentiary. It's not that easy, and that was 1996, so it was a little challenging to be that person and to be who I was there. Because I really wasn't a racist person or anything. I just had a drug and alcohol problem, and and it ended me up in prison. So I'm gonna sum it up. That was my first trip, and I ended up taking 4 trips, uh, 4 different felony offenses, countless, countless misdemeanors, countless trips to jails, institutions, and plenty of rehabs. Well, I would like to tell you some of the damage that I've done to my body as well. My body, my body is kind of tore up. I have major surgery on my stomach because I had my stomach blown out in 3 different spots. I've been on wrecks on my motorcycle. I hit two cars head on my motorcycle and was drugged 4 blocks down the road. I was shot with a shotgun on this side of my face and ended up being in the hospital for 3 days in a coma, in a medical induced coma. I've been stabbed 3 times, and the wreckage in the list keeps going on and keeps going on. After the 3rd time in the penitentiary, I thought, man, I'll never do this again. But the problem was I hadn't given up the drug addiction or the alcoholism yet. I still thought that I could juggle that disease, and that was not the case. Because I got out, and it took me 9 years to go back to the penitentiary. But in that 9 years, the only thing that kept me from going back to the penitentiary was the fact that I was making good money. I was raising a family. I have my wife, and she's now my ex-wife, but we were together 16 years. We had 2 beautiful kids. So after 9 years, that drug addiction, that functioning alcoholic drug addict that I learned from that one dad, and the addict that I was, that I learned from the other dad, that I had combined together to make one path, I was still functioning as an addict alcoholic. And 9 years later, it took 9 years. So I was actually 30 years old on my last felony conviction. Which my last felony conviction was possession of 5 different narcotics. I got pulled over and was charged with 5 narcotic misdemeanor felonies. They were felonies, but they were misdemeanor felonies, so they were state jail felonies. Well, I ended up losing rights to my children, which I had 2. I ended up losing my wife of 16 years. I ended up losing everything that I ever had and that I had built up to 30 years old. I never thought that I never classified myself as an alcoholic drug addict because I was always able to manipulate and pay my way out of things. And I never thought that I would be taken down that road so far that I wouldn't be able to buy myself out of somewhere. I wouldn't be able to talk my way out of something because I was gifted with the gift of gab. So that means I can talk pretty good. I have a good representation of myself. And whatever I believe in and I have a passion for, I can stand up for it. Which is what I hope that each and every one of us do that decides to change our lives. We can stand up for what is right. But anyway, I was sitting in the jail and I was thinking about facing life in the penitentiary because it was my 4th conviction. And a lawyer that came up, a lawyer that I had been having represent me. My wife had left me, my kids were gone, and the only thing that I had left was me in spirituality. But I wasn't going to start thinking about God now that just because I was in jail fixing to face life in the penitentiary, I'm not going to bend down on my knees and pray to a 911 God asking for him to forgive me, because I've done that before, and the only thing that come out of it was as soon as I walked out of the penitentiary, or as soon as I walked out of where I was in a bind, I stopped doing those things. So I told myself that would never happen again. I would never kneel down and call to a 911 God and be in the penitentiary. I wouldn't ask for him to free me out of there anymore. I would stand up, I would be a man, I would take the consequences as they come. Well, just so happens, God sent a lawyer in there. And it's pretty awesome, because I thought I was going to deal with life, 25 to life. And the lawyer come in and he said, if I take your case, will you pay me when you get out? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll pay you. After 25 years. And he said, okay, I'll see you in a couple months. In a couple months, he come back, and it was the darndest thing I ever heard, because I'm not living right in jail right now. I'm in county jail, and I'm not living right. I'm doing everything but being right in jail, because I'm not praying about it. I'm not doing anything about it. But see, God realized I needed help anyway. That's the great thing about it. I didn't even have to call on God at that time. He knew my heart already. So the lawyer came back in 2 months, and he said, I need you to sign this so we can get you out of here. And I said, whatever, what do you got? He said, I got you 16 months in state jail. And at that moment in time, I just looked up. And I said, man, how great is this? How does this happen to someone who hasn't confessed God, who doesn't believe right now, who has put God inside this box? How do you come and do this for me? What have I done for you? Needless to say, 16 months went by, and yes, when I got out, I went to work, and I paid that lawyer. I paid him for everything that he did for me, and I thanked him for what he'd done for me, because he didn't have to do that. He was called on as a representative of God, or good orderly direction. However, we need to look at it. That concept, however I need to look at it. When I got out of prison, I cannot tell you that I went straight path. I can't tell you that, because I didn't. In 3 months, I didn't have anything anymore. The kids, the house, the cars, everything was gone because of my last issues with alcoholism and drug addiction. So since everything was gone, I had nothing to lose. It ain't no sense in being right now. Why straighten up now? For what? So I didn't. And that day I got out, I continued to abuse and to physically, mentally, and I've never been convicted of sex crimes. That's not me. But I did everything but that. I have over 10 felonies on my record. I was on the edge of going back after 3 months out. But let me tell you what happened. I ended up getting to some stuff with a fella, and I ended up in possession of an ounce of methamphetamine, cocaine, $1,500. And then I stayed in an RV with 3 buddies of mine. We sat in that RV for 3 days, drinking whiskey, snorting cocaine, making crack, and inviting anybody over who had any drugs. After that 3rd day, I got so sick that I couldn't even get out of that RV bed. So I laid in that bed for 2 days before the people robbed my car. The people that I had been taking care of, all the money was gone. All of the drugs were gone. I was sick in bed. I couldn't breathe. And they left. They left and stole what little property that I had. They stole it and left. After 3 days, I was able to finally get myself up, find the power to walk across the street out of that RV that I had no idea whose it was, and call my brother. And it just so happens that my dad was in town. My dad that taught me that drug addiction life. You see, the power of God and the grace of God is that dad got sober. And he had been sober for 19 years. And he had moved 3 different states, and I haven't seen him in over 6 years. But just so happens God brought him back to where I was at that moment in time that I needed him the most. And after I called my brother, he came over and he seen me, and we went straight to the hospital, where they put me into a medically induced coma because I had infection coursing my brain from all the swelling lymph nodes in my throat. So I was on the edge of dying again because I've been dead 3 times from this disease. Not the final death, or I wouldn't be here, of course, talking to you. But they were temporary deaths. They were eye-opening deaths, man. I'm a cat with 9 lives, and I'm out of my last life. I'm a cat with 9 lives, and I have no more penitentiary time. If I go back again, I won't get 16 months. I realize that today. That is the gratitude that's in my life, as I know I have no more options. I have no more chances to be that person no more. I cannot go out and drink and drug no more. We have lost the power of choice to drink and drug. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you or someone else has lost the power of choice to drink. That is a damaging thing. Anyway, when I woke up, my dad asked me, he said, "Son, you're going to let this kill you, ain't you?" And I looked at him right then. That's the day that I had my eye-opening spiritual experience. Because that's the day that I decided to change my life. We went straight from the hospital to Turning Point in a certain part of Texas, where I spent 35 days in rehab. In that 35 days, that is not enough time for me or for anybody else to get recovery. It is a great amount of time for us to build a foundation, to start a building foundation. And once I build that foundation, what makes that foundation in that house so strong that I'm building is that I continue to work on that. And so when I got out of recovery, I moved from that place that I was at. I moved all the way about 300 miles away from where I was. Maybe not 300 miles, but you get the point. To a sober house where I started with a bag of clothes. I had a bag of clothes at 32 years old. I had no rights to my kids, no money, no nothing. I just had someone who said, "I'm willing to let you come live in this sober house to see if this lifestyle is something for you, to see if you're willing to go to any length to continue this sobriety and build this foundation that you have." And by the grace of God, I walked everywhere that I could when I got to this place. This place that I call home now. I've been here 7 years now. My sobriety date is 11/19/12. Like I told you, although I started 11/19/11, I had 4 relapses in the first year. Relapse is a part of the program, but it doesn't have to be a part of yours. But it was a part of mine. Now I just want to speed through some things. I have great friends in recovery. I now have built a fellowship and a home with people in AA, with NA, and in church, because I don't believe that one of these platforms can help me continue this walk. I believe that all of them can help me continue this walk. AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, church, whatever that I can do to go to learn how to better work good orderly direction, or learn how to continuously do the next right thing, that is what I want to do every day. Each and every day I wake up, and I do a YouTube channel this morning, every morning, to show people how I stay sober each and every day. I daily meditate and pray. It means I welcome and give God, invite God into my life. If I can't think of God any other way than just good orderly direction, well, that's all it's got to be. And then it can manifest and build itself into something else later. Right now, I need to understand that I have to live by good orderly direction. And this is me. I need to learn how to do the next right thing, moment to moment. So let me tell you what happened in this recovery that is so awesome and so amazing. Because I lost everything else. My wife of 16 years, my kids, my everything. I lost it all. And now it's been 2.5 years since I've even seen my children. Out of the blue one day, in recovery after a year of sobriety, I finally got some ground. I finally built some foundation. I'm still doing 4 meetings a day and church on the weekend, and got a job because I progressively got better and better jobs. I mean, all of it just continued to fall into place the way it was supposed to. So I got a call from CPS. Fast forward on through there. I'm going to tell you that I ended up with custody of my kids after 2.5 years. After 2.5 years of recovery and sobriety and changing my life, I got custody of my kids. I built a new family, a new foundation. Thanks to the glory of God. through AA, through NA, through church, through wherever I could find some spirituality. Why? Because I needed it. I need spirituality. I have to be spiritual. I have to believe that there's something else, a power greater than myself. I have to believe that, or there's no reason for me to live. Why would I want to live in chaos? I must believe that there's a God, or there's good orderly direction. Or that if I live my life according to good orderly direction, that if I do go and I didn't believe that well, but I lived a good life, that whatever's going to happen is going to be great. When I get to that final retirement, it's going to be awesome. Because I've done everything. I'm a skeptic sometimes. I understand that. So that's why I say good orderly direction. That's good enough. Just live in the right way. And if I die with that, then I live with joy. I give everybody I'm around joy. They don't have to live in chaos. You know, I've met me a wife. I have a wife of 4 years now. I raised my kids. My son's still at home. My daughter's already moved out. She's done gotten her life. But I got custody of my kids after 2 years of what they said that I would never do. I have a job now. I drive a hazardous material truck. And everybody in my life that seen me with my record and my face tattoos, everybody told me that I would never be able to get a CDL or a good job. And guess what? I've been doing that good job for 7 years. I've had that job. I still have it today. Matter of fact, I go in the morning at 2 in the morning to work. Because that is what this program, and that's what good orderly direction has done for me. It has changed my life and has allowed me to become a new spiritual person who just thrives on happiness, joyousness, and free. I want to be happy every day. Yeah, life throws me curveballs, but who doesn't it throw curveballs? Life is going to have some ups and downs. That's okay because they're not extreme. They're not extreme up and down. They're just little bumps in the road, little fireballs. You know, people throw fireballs at me all the time, but you know what? It's not worth my freedom anymore. It's not worth any of those things that I lost before to ever lose again. I built a mountain and I built a strong foundation, and I continue to do that by doing things like this, by coming on here and telling you that my life is changed today through the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and church. Through God in all of these places, because all of those different messengers, all of those different places, they all have one thing in common. The message of God. God is in every one of those groups. And that's what I get, and that's what is keeping me safe. That is what's keeping me moving forward. We've been through house after new house. We've gotten things that people told us we'd never have. They told me I'd never be nothing but an ex-felon. I'd never be able to get my kids. I'd never be able to do anything successful. But that's not true. Because I'm a success today. And you know, today I come on Shane's channel today, which I thank you for that. Please smash the thumbs up button if you like it. I thank you, Shane, for inviting me on your channel. Please come to my channel, Chris Hopper, #SoberLife, to find out how I live sober day to day. I was just invited to a church where I carried this same testimony, but in a different way because it's a church setting. But the object is that I am out here to help change people's lives, to tell people how my life has changed because I've decided to take God, good orderly direction, and do the next right thing moment to moment. And if you're interested in finding out more about me, if you want to learn more about my sobriety and my recovery walk, please check out my channel. And please subscribe. If you're not already subscribed to Shane's channel, please subscribe to Shane's channel as well. Because all we're trying to do is help make this world a better place. We can change this world starting with us, one person at a time. And I thank you guys for listening and putting up with me being excited and loving the passion of sobriety and God in my life. I'm Chris, I'm an alcoholic. 11-19-12, I'm cashing out. Y'all have a blessed day.